News 12 is on your side with First Alert Weather.
Hey folks, welcome into the News 12 Now desk. Thanks for joining us here on this Monday, August 7th. Hope everybody had a great weekend. It was a pretty good weekend overall. We did have a little bit of rain last night though, and that is what we are talking today. We are talking weather on this First Alert Weather Extra on August 7th. And so we are talking a First Alert Weather Day here this morning on this Monday. I guess the morning's not looking too bad, but we do have some severe weather possibly coming our way. That's why we've brought in the experts. First Alert meteorologists Mikkel Hannah Harding, Emily Acton there in the studio. Guys, good morning. Hope everybody had a good weekend.
Yeah, good morning. We had a pretty great Saturday. Sunday, I was here on the weekend, so covering everything. Sunday, a little bit on
squirrely out there.
Yeah, squirrely. I
like
love it.
Yeah,
that's a good word for it.
Right, just got a little, skies like, I had people telling me, they were cutting the yard doing something, the skies were blue, and then all of a sudden they saw things darkening up to the west.
Yep.
And then, the wind and the rain came, so just kind of came out of nowhere yesterday.
Pop-up
Yeah, I went to
showers.
Kroger, and by the time I was walking out of the store, it started downpouring. I got home to make some dinner, and the skies just like opened up out there. So it came pretty quick yesterday.
That it did, for sure. And we had that possibility once again today of more of these storms, and that threat again looks to be wind. So Emily, I'll actually let you kick it off here. Yeah, so I'll let you talk about what we have going on today, and then I'll explain what's the difference between a first alert and a first alert weather day.
Yeah,
so,
sounds good. Today really going to be super focused in on the severe weather threat that we have coming this evening. So just kind of, I know sometimes we're throwing in different things, have a lot more discussions, but today this is really important for us to cover in length, and this is a good platform to be able to just kind of talk about it for a long period of time.
Exactly.
We're not on time constraint here, so that's always good.
It is.
I know Nick's like,
I know, right? Just, hey, bear with us.
on a little time constraint. Anyways, we have officially declared today a First Alert Weather Day, and that is for late this afternoon, really early evening hours. Big window, just being super cautious, 4 p.m. until around 11 p.m. tonight. Now, a little bit of a more precise window, thinking anywhere from 6 to around 10 p.m. tonight. So again, the main risk that we are honing in on, strong straight line winds. That's the main threat for this system that's moving through. We're expecting a line of showers and thunderstorms to move through this evening. Some of them could form in front of the line. Some thunderstorms could form ahead. Like I said, but damaging straight line winds, that's the main concern. But we can't rule out hail, tons of cloud to ground lightning. There's a low chance for a brief isolated tornado, so that cannot be ruled out. But again, like I said, the wind is the main concern. Also could see localized flooding. So kind of all modes of severe weather are possible with this system moving through. But the main thing we're focusing on is wind speeds. And again, for storms to be categorized as severe, has to be 58 miles per hour or greater. We're expecting that greater. And so it doesn't matter if it's 70 mile per hour winds going in a circle or if it's straight line winds. It's 70 mile per hour winds, and so that can cause damage. Be sure to secure anything you got outside. If you have maybe an umbrella, some patio furniture, definitely either want to take it inside or somehow make it stick to the ground, sturdy it, tie it down. I don't know what you do.
Secure
it. There we go. That's a good word. Yeah,
yes,
I was looking for that. That's definitely something that needs to be done before this evening, and just go ahead and have a plan to do that now.
Oh yeah, definitely. So Emily just laid it out there as far as everything that we're watching and why that First Alert Weather Day, not just a First Alert, but a First Alert Weather Day is in effect for today. So we do have a slight difference between just a regular First Alert and a regular First Alert Weather Day. In terms of a First Alert, it's typically just more of a precautionary measure. There could be some minor impacts in areas underneath that First Alert, and the potential for impactful weather is there. But when we're talking about a First Alert Weather Day, our confidence is higher in the way of impacts being more widespread across the area. We do actually want people to take action and be more prepared versus a precautionary measure where we're just watching out for that potential. Again, that confidence a lot higher when we do have a first alert weather day in effect. So it just means to pay more attention to detail to what we're talking about. And for today, as Emily highlighted, it is that potential for some damaging winds. So here's a look at the severe outlook for today, how that breaks down. As Emily mentioned, localized flooding not going to be ruled out with that heavy rainfall pushing through. The main threat does look to be those damaging winds, which could come in the way of straight line winds on the leading edge of a line of storms. But we could have a few isolated cells developing out ahead of that line, so still some gusty winds possible inside of those, and also the potential for some isolated tornadoes both in those cells ahead of the line and within that line as it does pass through. And then forget to mention hail as well, being one of the lower threats for today, but still definitely on the table. But at this time, the highest threat does look to be wind across the area, Emily.
Yeah, definitely a big wind event that we are expecting. And another thing I kind of want to point out, right now it's sunny, looks great outside, not a concern. If you are not up to date on weather, you're just thinking, oh, it's great. Actually, the sun is kind of working against us a little bit in terms of the setup for this afternoon. It's making the atmosphere a little bit more unstable, and so don't really want to see all of that sunshine today, but nonetheless,
It's there.
Yeah, it's there, and I also don't want to over alarm people, but we do need to be prepared this evening, and be sure to let people know, because a lot of people just kind of carry on their day and are just not weather aware, and that's the best thing that you could be. That's the most that you can do, is be weather aware, be prepared this evening. So if you get off work a little bit late, might want to figure out a plan there. Just do not want to be driving in these conditions that we are expecting later on this evening, but we'll have that broken down the time-wise in just a little bit. But yeah, wind is the main concern, so that could damage trees, could damage some roofing on houses. Hail's another concern. Not as big of a concern though, but it's still there. So definitely want to cover your cars this evening. Again, take anything inside that could get blown away. Trampolines, can't take those inside, but those tend to fly away.
They do.
A lot.
Yes, so just make sure they're secure to the ground.
Yeah.
As far as that tornado outlook, not looking nearly as widespread as that wind threat or as elevated. So that's good news, but again, the potential is still there even though it is isolated. So worth mentioning, and with that enhanced risk, definitely want to continue to keep an eye out for maybe a brief tornado, as Emily mentioned earlier. We're also going to have to watch out for power outages today with those gusts around 60 miles per hour or greater coming through. And then that rainfall also helping to loosen that soil up. We definitely could have a few power lines coming down or trees bringing down power lines and things like that. So if you do live in an area that tends to lose power a little bit quicker than others, definitely be prepared for that being a possibility as these storms do begin to move through later. We're not tracking too much though on radar right now. You can see though a front to our west, and that combined with some upper level energy is going to be the main culprit for our storm chances increasing as we head through this evening, as well as some very hot temperatures that we do have forecasted for today. A lot of humidity out there with the south wind here at the surface, just helping to really pump up that humidity level for today. But right now we're looking nice and dry across the region, and that'll be the trend until we do get a little bit later into this afternoon, and especially heading into the evening hours around dinner time and after. That's when we're really going to have to watch out for that line of storms starting to pop up around the area.
Yeah, definitely. Kind of wanted, I know that we're on this graphic, I kind of wanted to mention the heat.
Oh, yeah.
If we could.
Let's go ahead and get to that.
Sorry, Mikhail,
No,
I'm throwing you off the loop.
No, it's all good.
Heat is another concern today. We've been focusing on the storms. That's a concern this evening, but I don't want to overshadow heat advisories for much of our area. And again, different national weather services have different qualifications. Just know all across the CSRA this afternoon, it is going to be hot, extreme heat. We could see heat indices in those triple digits. That can be expected throughout this evening. So don't let your guard down in terms of heat, just thinking, oh, it's going to rain. That's what we're focusing on. Also be aware that it is going to be very hot today. Take all those heat precautions, stay hydrated. We're in August. August is one of the hottest months of the year, if not the hottest month of the year. I think it beats out July.
Hottest. Oh yeah, definitely. That's when that heat really does get to its maximum potential in terms of how it feels outside, the heat index, humidity levels. But here are just some reminders really quickly about things to look for when we're talking about heat-related illnesses. Hopefully you're not outside long enough to experience any of these symptoms. The best way to avoid all of this is just to limit your time outdoors. Also stay hydrated and continue to stay close to AC. But just know if you ever see somebody exhibiting signs of heat stroke, the best thing to do is to go ahead and call 911. Heat exhaustion, if you can get them to a cooler place and begin that cooling process in terms of their body temperature, that also will help them out a great deal when we're talking about someone dealing with heat exhaustion. But as far as temperatures right now, close to 80 for most spots. We see a few mid-80s trying to creep into the forecast at this time, so it is beginning to be warm outside. It feels a lot hotter out there with that humidity for sure, and we are going to have to watch out for those heat index values getting close to and over 100 for today. Right now we're seeing those the forecast highs for this afternoon, I should say, are in the mid to upper 90s. So that's the actual air temperature outside. But let's take a look and see what it feels like outside right now, Emily. And how about 93 in Evans, 91 at Louisville, and not even 10:45 a.m.
Yeah, definitely a hot afternoon setup. And again, the heat's kind of going to be working against us, and the sun along with it. We're just not the best combination for us leading into some storms moving through. But again, we're going to be here and we're going to have all of this like tracked out.
Oh yeah.
Tracked. Is that the right word?
Mapped out, tracked out, forecasted. We're going to be tracking, I think.
Tracking. I don't know. I felt like tracked out did not sound correct.
We'll be actively tracking these storms throughout the day, where they're headed, things like that. But let's go ahead and give people an idea of the timing of these storms again. We kind of had that wide time frame of like 4 to 11, right? But let's go ahead and try and dial it down a little bit. So you can see that the majority of today looks to be dry. I think that you could be in agreement with that, right, Emily?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The majority of the day today, not looking bad. But again, as we head into the evening, that's when things are turning a little bit. And I say 4 just to give you a buffer.
Oh, yeah.
We're really expecting 5-6 time frame that this line of showers and thunderstorms will move through. Probably going to stick around for an hour or two as it slowly moves south and east. Probably by 10 p.m. it should be out of here. But again, a couple of models are disagreeing on the out time of it.
Oh yeah, we can go ahead and do some model comparison here. So
there we go.
That was the graph model that you were looking at, one of our in-house models through the weather company. This is the oh Lord, here we go. The high resolution rapid refresh model. Let's get our tongue and words together here, but just a higher resolution look at how things could play out. The models do agree though, Emily, on the timing pretty much staying after or closer to dinner time, I would say, after 4 or 5. So that's one thing they do agree on. But as Emily said, that last model pretty much had all of us dry by about 10 p.m. This one does keep those rainfall chances around for a little bit longer than that, lingering possibly into around midnight and maybe some overnight hours. But overall, just to sum up what we just showed you guys, that rain threat does look to hold off later into the afternoon. So when a lot of the kids are already home from school, you're thinking about dinner by that time frame, and then we could have those impacts lasting through portions of tonight. So any evening plans would definitely be potentially in jeopardy, and you do want to be sure to stay up to date with the forecast throughout today. And why not go ahead and download our weather app just so you can have a way to have alerts if you don't have that downloaded. If you scan that QR code on your screen, if you're not on your cellular device, you can use your camera to scan that code, and it'll take you to the App Store if you have an iPhone, or the Play Store if you have an Android, and you can go ahead and download that app, which does have interactive radar, any kind of alerts in the way of severe warnings, flood advisories and warnings, also heat advisories, which we do have in effect today. Those come straight to your phone when that app is downloaded. So just a great tool to have, and could be very useful for today since it is a first alert weather day, and we do have the potential for some stronger storms later.
Yeah, definitely, Mikhail. Good advice there. High today, average 97.
Yeah.
That is hot.
That's hot.
The rest of the week, a little bit cooler, a little bit more seasonable, I should say. Isolated showers possible each afternoon. I know Tuesday and Wednesday is looking a little bit more drier than the rest of the week, but just know there's a small chance every day to see an isolated shower pop up. Overnight lows not looking too bad in the 70s. So again, once we kind of get through today, things are going to be a lot smoother throughout the end of our week. But I think we've got a package here of some flooding in other parts of the states I kind of want to take a look at, Nick.
I don't know about other parts of the state, but we got in other parts of the country.
Other parts of the country, you're right.
I don't know about flooding in the state, but yeah, this is actually in
Not
Utah.
yet.
Yeah, a state of emergency in Utah, just south of Salt Lake City, after some torrential rain hit the area late last week. Some homeowners in the city of Draper saw extensive flooding, and Kara Bracken got a look at that damage.
It was like nothing I have ever seen in my life.
Erin Longacre headed downstairs to check out her basement after getting a call from her neighbor saying their basement had some flooding.
Started off with just an inch of water coming up under the door.
Moments later, water pressure built up against this bedroom door.
Half the door is gone. And that's when the water just started rushing down the hallway and into everything else.
That window also busted from the water pressure. There's also this mulch to sort through that they don't even have in their own yards.
I probably have all of my neighbors' mulch in my basement right now.
This isn't just an extra room. The room she's standing in belongs to her 10-year-old son. Thankfully, he was not in his bed last night.
I don't even know what would have happened if he was laying on the bed with the door shut and gallons at massive speed. I don't know what would have happened to him. He would have been trapped in the room when all of this water came in.
One of the hardest parts.
Keepsakes, it's just stuff that will be replaced.
Made easier by those their family knows and new faces turn neighbors.
We had neighbors and strangers and people just come out of the woodworks, and we're grateful.
That is just shows you how much damage flooding can do, which we are aware of that here, definitely. But just that flash flooding. Granted, I'm not expecting that catastrophic of flooding here this afternoon, but just kind of shows you. I mean, flooding is very serious. I feel like a lot of people see those flash flood warnings and we're just kind of like, whatever. But it's the second leading cause behind heat, which we are seeing today,
Right.
of weather-related deaths. So it definitely can cause some damage, and like we saw in that video, hurt
Happens
some
fast.
property.
Yeah, it does. It happens
fast.
quickly. It happens quickly. I remember growing up, we had a 1,000-year flood when I was, I think, 7. And the damage it did, I mean, the water rips through the brick buildings. People went out and examined the town the next day, and stuff was just cleared out, water levels above people's heads, dams broke at all the lakes, and so it was just, it was nuts. And yeah, like you said, it happened so quickly. I remember going past one building and just seeing a big hole in the bottom of a standard brick and mortar building, and the water just ran through and treated it like it was sugar or something, just right through it, dissolved the whole thing. So it does happen quick. It is scary, and that's what we're seeing in other parts of the country right now.
Oh yeah, once that water gets moving, pretty hard to stop it, and it can cut through just about anything, as you witnessed, Nick.
Yeah.
So yeah, dangerous.
Yeah. And actually another part, just above Utah, I guess, up in Montana, I'm going there this week, and we got an alert that it's so dry out there right now that they're not allowing people to build campfires. And this has nothing to do with flooding. I just wanted to say this because I'm very upset about it. But it's crazy how something not too far away, a state not too far away, has such different conditions right now. And it kind of goes into what we've been talking about the last couple of weeks with this extreme weather all over the country. Some places are getting insane heat, some places getting insane flooding, some places getting fires, some places getting a little bit of everything. It's just that time of the year, I guess, that we're seeing a lot. But it feels like more, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. Just a lot more of extreme weather going on, and it's crazy. Like when you have these intense wildfires, if those areas happen to see a lot of rainfall, then you have to start to worry about mudslides because you know everything's just so loose now because everything's burnt. It's a lot going on for sure.
Definitely a lot to keep track of, but that's why we've got the local meteorologists, the national meteorologists.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
Everybody
Keeping track of everything. I mean, there's a lot to talk about and a lot to
Exactly.
keep track of.
Yep.
And that's why it's good to keep up to date with the First Alert weather app as well. Make sure you've got that downloaded so you're staying up to date with everything going on there. But one of the big things going on today, it's back to school for a couple more of our counties. It's Richmond County, middle and high schoolers back to school today, as well as 2 counties in South Carolina, Barnwell and Orangeburg, maybe? Sound right? I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head. But We've got a few local counties back to school. Really, everybody's just getting back in, whether you went back last week or the last week of July. Students are getting back in school. Some areas of the country are seeing return to classroom at a time when heat is a little bit higher than normal. Ivan Rodriguez explains how schools are preparing and what precautions they are taking to keep kids safe.
Students are returning to school on the heels of scientists saying this summer is on track to be the hottest on record. Now, whether it means more water breaks during recess or cooling off indoors, school officials I spoke with tell me they're ready. At Miller Grove High School just outside Atlanta, Georgia, final preparations to classrooms are underway for the first day of school. But because of the recent extreme heat, staff members are also taking precautions.
It's great to know how to stay hydrated and also how to find a place to stay cool.
Joanne Harris is the coordinator for Student Health Services for the DeKalb County School District. She says while students are outside, faculty will be looking out for any symptoms caused by the heat.
You're looking at heavy sweating, you're looking at muscle cramps.
All while giving students more opportunities for water breaks and cooling off indoors.
We want to make certain that they can come in and get some relief.
The month of July has been deemed the planet's hottest month on record by far, according to the European Union's Copernicus Climate Change Service. For St. Paul Public Schools in Minnesota, slightly less than half of their buildings have air conditioning. Although students won't be returning to school until after Labor Day, they're preparing by outfitting more of their schools with AC.
We're just putting the finishing touches on our first geothermal heating and cooling system, which uses the stable temperature of the earth to provide highly efficient heating and cooling.
And for those schools without AC, Tom Perrin says they run their ventilation systems overnight to pull in the cool air and get the buildings as cold as possible before students arrive. School district officials also tell me they're communicating with parents, asking them to dress their children in light clothes. In case their school does not provide a water bottle, it's also suggested to go to school with their own water bottle. In Atlanta, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
So there you hear it, people dealing with heat all over the country. And guys, I know we talked about July being the hottest month on record. What have we seen so far this first week in August? Are we still trending very hot, or have things cooled down a little bit?
We've seen a little bit of below average temperatures this past week, but I wouldn't say that that's going to be the trend. I think we've just had different setups coming through, lots of rainfall. It kind of helped us stay a little bit cooler. But I mean, today, 97 for the high. I think that we're still kind of feeding from July into August. And like I said, I'm pretty sure August is the hottest month of the year on average, especially here in the Southeast. So still trending to be hot. And so a lot of kids are going back to school or are already back in school. Definitely need to be staying hydrated, dressing in those loose clothing. Definitely good advice there. That's all I got.
I think we're trending hotter too, Nick. Definitely have those days that are mixed in and below average, but overall, I think that we're probably going to see more above average days. And as Emily said, this week, we're talking about 90s all week. So last week was actually very abnormal.
Yeah.
Kind of lucky for us to have 80s the 2 days that we did, but I think we're definitely going to be seeing a lot more hot temperatures.
Well, that is not exactly what we want to hear, but you know, it's summer, it's August here in Augusta. This is what we're expecting, and taking a look behind you guys, looks like some heat and rain on the way home today.
That's right. Yeah, I'm really glad that you mentioned that today is the first day of school. You know, we're just like weather mode and thinking severe storms, and a lot of students have already went back, you know, over the past 2 weeks. But as you mentioned, you know, for Richmond County, I believe middle high school students go back today, and then for other counties, everyone just going back in general. But definitely could be dealing with some stronger storms. It seems like, though, that some of the strongest storms could hold off until after the kids are home from school. But if you have kids that are participating in extracurricular activities that could have them at school up until about 5, 6, they definitely could have some issues in terms of dealing with those storms on the way home. So that is the back to school outlook for today. Definitely was a drier start going towards school, but as you're heading home from school, and especially if you have to stay after, we could be talking about some of those stronger storms pushing in by then, Nick.
All right, so hopefully that holds out for us a little bit as kids are getting off the bus. We've got some photos that, of course, we want to share. Some viewer photos that we Appreciate you guys sending in. Let me go ahead and pull some up here. These are from yesterday's storms. So we've got this first one. You guys just talk me through what we're looking at here.
Looks like
Or
it
not.
could
That's cool.
be
Yeah, that's fine.
a slight shelf.
Gotta give us a second.
I think it's like a zoomed in view of a shelf cloud because
Yep.
just of how this looks in the distance. Like that's like the rain shaft behind those.
Scud a little bit.
Right.
Down there. Yeah, some dark clouds yesterday.
Yeah, this one
Nick
coming to us from Edgefield County.
Yeah. There you. I was about to ask.
Perfect.
Can you tell us? Yeah, because
That totally makes sense. I was actually like super honed in on the Edgefield storm, but just like in my own analysis.
Oh, yeah.
Keeping an eye on everything there. I definitely think that this checks out based off what I was seeing on the radar.
yeah,
Definitely checks out.
those storms
All
were
right,
popping
let's
yesterday.
move. We got this one out in Evans, actually, on the Georgia side.
Oh, I love clouds.
Yeah, some more that. So when we like me, Emily, Riley, when we talk about scud, it's just some of those lower clouds.
Yep.
And you can really see those in that picture. Riley described them as fingers, almost like fingers coming down from the cloud, reaching towards the ground. But you can definitely see some of that right there. And if you don't know what you're looking at, you may mistake scud sometimes for a funnel or wall cloud. But that's just that low-level wind helping to pick up some of those clouds there closer towards the surface there. But just some cool stuff right there. Where's that picture from?
That one's in Evans at the Publix
okay,
out
I
there. It
missed
looks
that.
like the one right at the Washington Road Riverwatch intersection there, because there's that Waffle House over there. I believe that's where this one's at. All right, let's check out. We got a video here. This one's in Hepzibah. Well, just
Pretty
some
heavy
heavy
rain.
rains out there.
And some,
Wind too.
yeah, I was gonna say it's a little windy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely heavy rainfall yesterday for some areas, and it was kind of that quick passing almost, just straight downpour,
Deluge.
and then things were looking better within 30 minutes or so. Yeah, an hour, probably more accurate.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
on the long side.
This one is, again, in Edgefield County. This is a crazy looking photo here.
It is. At first, I had to get my perspective right here. Like I had to get my eyes oriented to the screen. That's a shelf cloud, but the angle of it makes it look like it's something dropping down from the sky, like a funnel.
I was going to say,
Yeah,
you were talking about something
definitely.
looking like a funnel or a tornado earlier. That
Yeah.
kind of looks like one from that angle.
That looks like one. But yeah, it's just that angle. It looks like this could have been almost like a panoramic shot. The way the bottom part looks kind of like stretched out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely a shelf cloud though.
that'll scare you if you're driving
yes.
down.
The mothership.
Just looking at some more clouds here in Edgefield
This one.
County.
Yeah.
Yeah, some lowering.
Mm-hmm.
Some scud.
There you go.
There
We
you
got
go.
it.
Look at me, learning the terminology. That's that same cloud we just saw. And then this one in North
this
Augusta.
Gary?
Oh, I know this flag.
Right.
This comes to us from our resident bald eagle. That's Gary's house.
I don't think he's watching right now.
Oh, he's watching.
Oh, he is. Well, yeah, he's probably upset.
Some rain and storm cloud moving through.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can kind of see it cruising along
definitely
there.
off there in the distance. Yep.
A lot of depth in these clouds too, which is always cool to see. Different
Cloud, yeah.
shades of gray.
And clouds at different heights too. I
Yeah,
always like,
yeah.
being able to tell what clouds are closer to you versus what's a little bit further elevated. But,
Clouds are my favorite, I think.
Yeah.
Actually, I
I'm there
know
with you.
they are my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, a lot of stuff that we study weather-wise in terms of precipitation and
It's clouds.
yeah, yeah, I like clouds too.
I'm pulling up
Glad
some
we're on the
dogs.
same page.
One of the cooler parts of weather.
Yeah. What did you
What was
say,
that?
Nick?
I said I'm pulling up some dogs.
Oh,
It's a
okay,
dog
okay,
and a
cool,
cat.
cool.
Because the rundown says puppy forecast, and I got nothing for that, so I'm just going to pull up a dog, and then you guys can
Yeah.
talk about some more weather.
No, that's perfect. Oh my gosh. A dog
And
and,
a
a
cat.
cat.
So the dog is Don, we think. We don't know the cat's name.
Okay.
Because the caption just says Don. So, could be the dog. I'm guessing it's the dog. Cat, don't know. Name it, whatever you guys want. Oreo, there you go. There's the cat's name.
Oreo.
All right, that happened so fast there. No, love
Midnight.
puppy pictures. At the end, yeah, that was kind of on me, Nick. I was gonna try to get a little dog walking forecast, but just the severe weather
Kinda
today
took over.
kind of overruled that. But anyways,
Well, there's
go
Don,
take your fur friend.
and
Do it before
Kat.
this evening.
Yeah,
Who,
yeah,
again,
do it before
got
this
nothing for it.
evening. But that was cute. We love pet pictures. Definitely send them to us.
Yeah.
We'll show some. We'll try to make that a thing.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Promoting
and
dog
I would
and
I
cat
would
love.
imagine we're gonna have some pictures tomorrow of the
Oh, yeah.
whatever happens from today, whether it's some maybe trees knocked down from the wind or just some videos of that. We'll see. Hopefully it's not
We'll
too
see.
bad, but yeah, expecting some.
We'll have
some
you
severe
guys
weather today.
covered.
Yeah, I
Of
would
course.
definitely say, just as a closing note, to like in all seriousness, just to stay up to date with the forecast. Things are a little bit fluid,
Yeah.
but we have pretty high confidence that it looks to be like a later day threat versus an all day thing. So at least for the good chunk of your Monday, we should be in good shape. But just heading closer to dinner time, and especially into this evening and earlier parts of tonight, that's when things could get a little bit sketchy. So just stay up to date with the forecast, and you can do that by downloading.
Oh, the First Alert weather app, and it's a great tool. We've got the live radar on there.
Right.
Our videos post there that we are updating frequently.
Yep.
We'll be up to date on social media, and the app's really probably the best way to go.
And you can submit your pictures and videos through the application as well. So,
Yep,
yeah.
that's always
There you
good.
go. So a whole lot of good coming from the app, so be sure to download that. Also, if you want to download our WRDW streaming app, you can watch this show live, you can watch our newscast live, you can watch all of our content up there, and you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you can do that up there as well. It's all free. Why not? Just go ahead and do it. Stay up to date with what's going on in the community. That's going to wrap things up here for our First Alert Weather Extra on this Monday. Again, First Alert Weather Day in effect. So be sure you are staying weather aware and up to date with the forecast and what's going on. So, guys, thanks for your time this morning. Looking forward to doing it again tomorrow.
All
Sounds
right, see you
good.
then.